Everybody, welcome into the Proline TV Baseball Betting Jam. Jim Feist joins me, Tony Mejia, and we're going to break down all things MLB and sprinkle in some other sports. I'm sure there at the end is the fourth installment of this baseball betting show where we talk all things Major League Baseball, give you some diamond gems, look at series prices, and this is a Thursday show, but all the Thursday action is going to conclude series. So we are going to look ahead and look at Friday through Sunday. And Jim, how have you been? It's been basketball centric, but now that the NCAA tournament is behind us, people are looking at golf for the Masters and obviously setting their sights to both the NBA playoffs and a Major League Baseball season that is in full swing. How you been?
Well, baseball yesterday was negative at 0 for 2, but I was good in basketball. The NCAA was very exciting. Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, final game, exciting stuff. Maybe not great aesthetic basketball, but really competitive and exciting. It's amazing that the teams that led at halftime all lost. It was kind of crazy. But the end of the NCAA tournament was exciting. The beginning of it, of course, we know what the portal and the NIL have done to it. So I don't know what the future brings for that, but we're not going to worry about it. Baseball is long seasons, 162 games. We're going to be doing shorts every day. Well, along with this show, we're going to do 3 days a week of shorts. Andy, yourself, and myself on a short is 60 seconds. So it's about baseball betting tips, how to win, how to bet, how to win. You know, when I grew up, the only thing you could bet was who was going to win the game. Then They started to bring in the totals, and then they started to a little bit. It was a lot later with props and all that stuff, and now they got first fives. You got run lines.
People love the no runs first inning.
No first, exactly. And then you got over and under on pitchers or strikeouts,
props. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a million ways to bet baseball. The problem is I'd probably need 10 years of lessons to teach it all to you. But the point is, it's a long season. It's a grind, 162 games. It's the longest season ever, I think, for any sport. And so you can't get too wrapped up. We've already played, I don't know, about 20 games so far, something like that.
No,
but then you have a lot of bad weather, cold weather, hot weather, humid weather makes a big difference in the ball, the pitcher's hand on the ball, the way they can spin, the rotations, how far the ball will carry in different climates. There's a lot of things to consider, which is why Andy can't be here today because he got an internet problem. But Tony and I will start giving out these tips so we can make you bettors. So it's BETER and then OR at the end. It's a little complicated.
It's not an English class. We're good.
I've never been good at any of those classes.
I have. I'm a writer.
But yeah, you are a writer. That's right.
This is the Jim Feist brainchild, and will happily contribute. So Jim's going to go first. We're gonna have on the Proline TV YouTube channel, betting tips, and Jim will, like I said, bring you some insights over his many decades of betting sports and particularly baseball. But we'll do this for multiple sports, just things that pop up and pop in our heads. We'll brainstorm them and bring them to you on a weekly basis. So please like and subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so we'll ding you when we go live, which we did for our national championship preview show on Sunday. We'll do that from time to time. And once the channel actually gets up and running to where we have tons of subscribers, we will maybe have an instance where we'll have you live watch a bet that we've made. You can see me because I do watch all of my games. You can see me pace, although that probably won't make for a good video, but you can see me active instead of sitting down. But yeah, so we're definitely going to do that. And if you're new to the show, if this is your first one, Mondays and Thursdays will be where you can get fresh content on these baseball betting jams, where Mondays we'll look through Monday through Wednesday and into Thursday, because Thursdays do have matinees. And then Thursday's show, we'll look at Thursday night, but for the most part, weekend stuff, Friday through Sunday. So that'll break up the week. It'll hopefully get you some winners. We'll look at games that we are intrigued by from a betting standpoint, or just from a general want to see what happens here. And we also will look at series prices, and the Mondays will have real prices that we've actually seen. Thursdays are tricky because some series are still going on. We tape this before the books have actually fired away on series prices for Friday through Sunday, so we'll guesstimate on that. But for the most part, we're not going to give you say the Mets over the A's this weekend, even though that might be a more competitive series than we'll give credit for. But we'll try to stay away from backing somebody against the White Sox. We'll give you competitive pick'em series, and
we're not going to lay big prices.
Exactly. And and in Jim's case, he will look to show you how he likes to make money with his play, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. We'll also recap how we did. Andy Isko, who will be a major part of the show as well, he joined me for Monday, so we will look at what he did on his early week picks. I split, but again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll talk about what just happened, and for the most part, it was a non-eventful week, except for the dogs rose up in MLB a little bit. The Washington Nationals took the first two games of their series against the LA Dodgers. Dodgers were able to squeak out a victory, a one-run win. There was a ton of one-run action on Wednesday too, to avoid a sweep. Yankees did the same in chilly Detroit. They moved every game of that series up a few hours to avoid the wind chill, and Aaron Judge still looked like he was going to build a snowman after the game. But beforehand, the Tigers won 2 out of 3. Third game was a pitcher's duel that the Yankees managed to squeak out. So Yanks and Dodgers both enter Friday's action 1-2 on the week. The team with the best record in baseball, only 1-10 wins so far, are the San Diego Padres at 10-3. But the Giants are 9-3, right behind them. Probably the biggest surprise in baseball. The American League East is led by the Toronto Blue Jays, so probably won't get used to that, but we'll see. Maybe the Jays rise up. They had an eventful week as well, re-signing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a decade, I think. So lots going on. Some injuries to be aware of, but for the most part, we are humming and into the teenage portion of the 162 game schedule now that we're into games 13 through 18 here going forward over the next week. So, the other thing, I guess, to watch is who's bad. The White Sox started off like they weren't going to lose 110 games again, but now they're 2-9, and the Braves are surprisingly still 2-9, and the Rockies are 2-9, and the Rockies, I think, could be a serious fade all season, because not only are they terrible, but they are stuck in if the Giants are going to be really solid all season, by far the toughest division in baseball, with the Snakes, Padres, and Dodgers all hitting the ground running. So, that's where we're at in baseball. Jim, I know you've been betting a few games, but anything stand out to you as surprising?
Well, I think you covered most of it. The surprises, of course, the Giants are a big surprise. The Yankees, with the home runs and the bat and all that stuff, which great conversation, but I don't think it really is material. It's still a bat, and you still got to put the bat on the ball.
What's annoying about the bat is that the way it's being brought. My mom, an 86-year-old Ecuadorian woman, says, "Hey, what's going on with the Yankees? I heard they're using Sammy Sosa bats." I said, it has nothing to do with that, but that's how it's played out on Latin American TV, because that's what she watches.
Really?
And again, it's almost like telling your neighbor a secret and then going to tell somebody, and it becomes this big thing where I'm like, everybody uses torpedo bats. Yankees have just used them better than most to start the season. And we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it dies down. But you know what I hate, Jim? I hate, and I'm on social media, I think probably a little more than you are, but there's typically every single game has instances where an umpire clearly misses a call. And we saw this week, Chris Sale actually yelled at him, the home plate umpire in the Braves-Phillies game, said, "Where was that?" And with the challenge system being implemented in spring training, but not carrying over to the regular season, I think we're going to see pitchers be more combative, I should say. And we're going to see officially either a challenge system or full-on robot umps for the ball strike in 2026.
Well, we saw a little bit of it in the NCAA final as well, with 26 fouls in the second half and 4 in the first. The officiating, refereeing is such a mystery, and it really affects the game. What happens in baseball? I mean, I would like to see the robot thing. A strike should be a strike. I mean, it can't be just, it's annoying, but it is what it is, and we have to live with it. Hopefully, it breaks even for everybody over a long period of time. But it's not the greatest way to get the true quality and true answers in a game. But anyway, it is, well, like I said, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, with K-zone technology, though, it's the fix has been there. Like we're going to see in the NFL, the chains are going to be obsolete. They're not using them anymore, and if they have them, I think it's going to be, just to have them just in case or for posterity's sake. I'm not sure, but they're going to use the video to tell us whether it's a first down or not, which I think is great.
That's great. That's awesome.
In international soccer, we used VAR. It's very polarizing. Half people hate it, half people love it. I love it. I think too much money is bet for it, and it's because technology is used for that. It's not black and white. If he's a millimeter offside, the goal should be disallowed, and that's how it's being used. Throughout most of international soccer. So hopefully we see it in baseball. I mean, the other day the Yankees fell behind 3-0 because a 3-run homer was hit after a would-be strike was called a ball, and then it ended up leading to a walk, which led to a 3-run homer. It changes games.
Yes, it does. And it changes a lot of fortunes too.
Yeah, changes a lot of betting fortunes. So all right, so
we do have to mention today is the beginning of the Masters, and everybody's going absolutely insane because of it, because that is the biggest. I mean, that is. Have you ever been there to Augusta?
No, Augusta National, no.
Oh my God!
Andy said he went.
It's gorgeous. I was there in 2000. Walked the course 5 straight days. That was a hell of a course. But I was a marathon runner back in those days, 25 years ago. Oh my God, it was a long time. But it is so beautiful there. You see it on TV. It looks good. In person, it's unbelievable. And it's a tough course. It's a very tough, hilly course.
And on Friday on Proline TV, that the long-awaited interview, Jan Stevenson will join the network, chat with Greg DePalma on what has transpired in Augusta. First 2 rounds will be in the books by the time they have their conversation. So look forward to a weekend preview there. And again, like and subscribe, and you'll know when that's coming. And yeah, I mean, I've got it on the television on mute. It is, I entered a couple of contests. FanDuel sent me some golf contests, and it's basically salary cap stuff. So I have 3 different lineups. You can only use Scotty Scheffler if you use a golfer that is at the bottom end of the spectrum. So I used Camilo Villegas, who's Colombian, and it's actually won me money because he's been pretty good this year. But the story, I think, early on, Scheffler's off to a great start, but Bernard Longer is 68 and shooting under par, and what might
he's
be
the ageless wonder. I'm going to close this door so you don't have to listen to my dog Zorro talk.
He's chiming in, but yeah, Longer off to a strong start in what could be his first Masters, and we will monitor that certainly. So yeah, I think it's a neat tradition that champions get to come back, and obviously winners of tournaments also are utilized as well. I know Lee, who won the Valero a couple of weeks ago, he's in a couple of my lineups. Comes in as a hot golfer. So we'll see on that. But this weekend we've got the Cubs and the Dodgers, Giants, Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles, Brewers, D-backs as the top 4 series in terms of intrigue, and certainly the Giants and Yankees gets a bit of a bump because San Francisco has been so solid to start the season. Let me check real quick if Justin Verlander is going to be in the mix, and it looks like they just miss him. So no Verlander against the Yanks. Shame on that. I think Verlander probably pitches early in the next week since they just missed him.
He's been around so long, and he's so great for so long. It's amazing that he's still there. I mean,
after surgeries too.
Yeah, he's quite the character. I mean, talent-wise, it's extreme. That since we're mentioning that, I might as well mention what I'm going to do with that series. I look for the Giants to at least win one game in that series. It's a 3-game set, and they're going to be a dog in every game. So I'm going to start with the Giants in game 1 and roll it over. If I get one win, I quit. To me, betting is about making money. It's not about being a fan. I'm not a fan. I like the games as much as those teams like me, and which is nothing. So it's all about the money. So I'm going to roll it over, feel they're going to win one game, and I will collect as a dog price. I did it last week with Philly over the Dodgers. I believe that worked out pretty well, and we're going to do that again. I'll have some other ones we'll talk about together in the show.
Yeah, Jim, you hit on Phillies over the Dodgers, and at that point, the Dodgers were still undefeated when you made that play, and that was a great series, by the way. Phillies and the Dodgers. Phillies ended up winning 2 out of 3, and all very competitive games. What else happened? Series price wise, I hit my Monday series price with the Pirates, and that was wild because I made that bet over the Cardinals. Really being confident that Paul Skeens would win his matchup on Tuesday, and he was the only loser for the Pirates. So early season, you kind of got to go with the flow in MLB, but certainly expect Skeens to be great. And the Pirates did win to extend St. Louis's losing streak. So I think it was 6 games at that point on Monday. Cards snapped it by beating Skeens on Tuesday. And in Wednesday's game, Eric Fetty pitched a no-hitter for, I think, 6 innings against the Pirates lineup that really is absolutely brutal, especially when they give O'Neal Cruz a day off, which they did on Wednesday. So nobody could hit. I think it went scoreless into the late innings, and in something like 12 innings, Pittsburgh ended up winning 2-1. So Cardinals have issues. Pirates have issues. That entire division, except for the Brewers and Cubs, have issues. Cubs have really gotten their hitting shoes on early, probably helped by being in Sacramento to start the season. But Kyle Tucker's hit the ground running. Dansby Swanson's doing great. So Chicago faring well, and they will play at the Dodgers, at the Dodgers. That's your Sunday night game too. So that's really an elite series. Yoshi Yamamoto and Matthew Boyd will be your Friday starters. And I'll go with my series price here to start. And actually, let's get Andy to start us off. Andy had, I think he split as well with his picks on Monday. And again, these shows are archived, so you can go back and check what he liked. But I think he had the Zach battle, Eflin against Gallen, if memory serves me right, early this week. But he likes the Diamondbacks and Milwaukee Brewers to go over every game. And those games will be played in Phoenix, where Milwaukee is going with an undecided at this point because they got their pitching staff in flux. Eduardo Rodriguez goes for the Snakes on Friday. They go Corbin Burns on Saturday. And on Sunday, it's Zach Gallen. I know you have something on that we'll get to in a little bit. But Andy likes runs in that series. The Brewers will counter with an undecided on Friday. Chad Patrick, who has hit the ground running it for them and really been a godsend given that pitching staff's current status. So we'll see if he can keep that going Saturday. And Sunday, it is Freddie Peralta and Zach Gallen. And you like something in that game, particularly for Sunday. So we'll have you going here with your game of the weekend.
Well, I'm going to go with Gallen. At home, he's a very special pitcher to begin with, but at home he's really tough. And I like the D-backs quite a bit. I'm not knocking anything about the Brewers or pitching staff or anything else, but that's just a great spot. It won't be a big price with that kind of pitching matchup. And I do like the D-backs to win that game with Gallen.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, too, because in 162, there are no must-wins. But it will be interesting to see when the pressure does ramp up sometime probably earlier than September for these teams to keep up with the Dodgers and the Padres if they continue at their pace. You got the Snakes and the Giants.
And the Giants. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough division.
Extremely so. So they'll all beat up on the Rockies, and then we'll see what shakes out. But yeah, really good stuff. We'll see if Atlanta is able to get going. They are closing out their series against the Philadelphia Phillies on Thursday, and then go to Steinbrenner Field to play the Rays, who have been pitching pretty well. So, a 2-9 start again. It's way too early to panic, but with Acuna still a month off and Spencer Strider as well, really a bad start for the Braves, who were hoping to tread water and obviously are not. Then I'm going to go with my series that I've got an eye on for my series price. So I know for a fact that I'm 2 for 2 on these, or at least got a streak going. We got 4 shows, so 3 for 3. I don't think I've missed one of these yet, which obviously means I'm missing this one. But we will go with the Phillies laying a series price as a road favorite. Again, don't know how much, but they are playing at St. Louis, so it probably will be in the 130 range, I would guess. But the Phillies have been pitching really awesome. Zach Wheeler has been great to start the season. Aaron Nola has been good. He will pitch Friday against Andre Palante. Saturday, it's Christopher Sanchez, the lefty, against Miles Mikolas. Love that matchup. Love that individual game. And then on Sunday, it's Wheeler against lefty Matthew Liberatore. So all 3 games, I think Philly will be favored for the series. Then you take 2 out of 3, you win the series price bet. That is my play. Phillies over the Cardinals. And we'll see about the attendance there, because maybe because of the weather, maybe because of the times, but typical opening day crowds and early series crowds at the new Busch Stadium were sparse.
The weather has been really
it had something to do with it.
Pretty poor in that part of the country, definitely.
And you know how St. Louis loves its baseball, so the team definitely disappointed last year. Ollie Marmol, not anybody's favorite there among Cards fans. So you wonder if they struggle, if he's the first manager fired. But I definitely like the Phillies in that series.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the Athletics.
We are going to do that, and let's go ahead and do that now. I'm making sure we got everything.
At home, they're 5-1 over the total. Yesterday, 2-1 game.
Yep.
I think we might have both lost that one.
I know
I did. But there's no foul territory, and which means that it's you're not going to get any cheap outs. So the batter does have a little bit of an advantage based on that. And this series that's coming up, I like all the games to go over. But if you get 2 out of 3, you might pass the third one. But
like the Cubs want to do, or have done, I should say, in utilizing Sacramento as a springboard. The Mets want to do, because the Mets have really struggled at the plate. They got blanked by the Marlins on Wednesday, lost 5-0. They've had a couple of 10-run games, but for the most part, Jim, 5 out of the last 6 games entering this series in Sacramento have gone under in New York Mets games. So we're looking to buck that trend, and I'm in agreement with you. I think yesterday was the anomaly in terms of Wednesday's 2-1 result. Yes. And Andy and I talked about this on Monday. We were a little surprised that odds makers did not make that immediate hike after seeing the Cubs series, because it was the first couple of games of the Padres series were 8.5, 9, and then we got to 10 for Wednesday's game.
And then it went under.
And that was the game, to segue there. That was my Monday game of the week for me, and so of course I'm the jinx. Because I looked at the pitching matchup. Beto is pitched for the A's, and he's very inconsistent. Vasquez, who's the weak link in the Padres rotation, was going. I said, I really like this. Circled it and gave it out to my clients, in addition to giving it out as my play here, and it obviously didn't come close.
I was there with you. I went down with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, all you can do is make smart bets. If you get to bet knowing that it's 2-1 in the 5th inning, probably don't make that bet. But we don't get that luxury, right?
No, everybody's got to realize, and we'll talk about it in our tips, that they'll be up 3 days a week when we're not doing these shows, which is 2 days a week, Monday, Thursday. There'll be tips online. It'll be shorts, 60 seconds and less. And it's a 162 game year, and and you grind and you grind and you grind. It's all about making a profit. It's you put whether you put the money in the bank, you get 1% return or 10% return. It's all about making extra money. And baseball season, bookmakers don't like booking baseball because they don't beat it. The players beat it, so it is beatable. And we're going to talk about the many ways that you can bet to win money.
And we'll look to bounce back. I will go now into my game of the weekend. And again, this can be a blockbuster matchup, but in this case, it is not. It is the Marlins hosting the Washington Nationals. So this is one of the series that you only watch if you're a fan of these teams, or if you have a bet to make. And I like the Marlins on Sunday. And again, though, whether they're favored or not remains to be seen, but it's probably going to be closer to a pick'em because again, it is the Marlins. They're not going to be favored in many games this season. But they have a kid named Connor Gillespie who has started really well for them. Trevor Williams has actually pitched pretty decently for the Nats, but again, we will fade him. He has been a fade for me over the past few seasons. And even though the Nats lineup is improved, well, we'll ride with the Marlins, the no-name Marlins, who are getting contributions from guys like Matt Mervis and Griffin Conine and people that are bolstering my fantasy team that are making opposite owners jealous, saying, how does this guy know about those guys? And it's just because I got lucky and I figured somebody's got to play. So hopefully that continues.
Well, if people can make a mistake, like Bobby Knight said, he made a big mistake on Larry Bird by not going with him and not giving him respect. He admitted that. If he can make that kind of mistake, we can make mistakes too.
Of course. And have you seen any of the Celtic City documentary on HBO Max?
I have not.
It is tremendous. And you mentioned Bobby Knight because one of the episodes, I think it was episode 4, was on Red Auerbach and how he looked at Larry Bird and really earmarked him for being the savior of the franchise after the down seasons following the Bill Russell era, into the 70s, into the early 80s, and you see highlights of Larry Bird at Indiana State, and it just is amazing how it was a man playing them against boys. Very in that documentary series, you've got Bob Cousy highlights. Obviously Bill Russell highlights. So it really is good. They go into the civil rights, and how that affected Boston, because Boston always, among NBA circles, it's always considered a racist city. But even back then, it was a city that you did not want to get traded to. Now that's obviously a little better. But just really compelling stuff. Bill Simmons is behind it.
That's on HBO?
HBO or HBO Max. Yeah, fantastic. And it starts with the birth of the Celtics till today. And
I remember when Larry Bird was in the championship game against Magic. I mean, they became very good friends over the years,
sure.
and I'm sure they still are. But that was a hell of a. I mean, it was Larry Bird against the whole team. I mean, they didn't have many good players on that team, but he took them a long way. That was a hell of a year and a hell of a game. Yeah,
and you see the fights of the 1970s and 80s. Robert Parrish getting upset at Bill Laimbeer and cold cocking him. That is a completely different era, and it's a trip to see. So highly recommended to you and our audience if you can check it out. Definitely do. I think it's at least 6 chapters, probably a little more, because they've just gotten to the 90s. They got a little bit on Len Bias, him passing away, without playing a game, obviously. So a really historical look back at the Celtics from the NBA.
We should mention that this coming week, the NBA playoffs start. And
we'll talk about potentially doing a little preview. I know we're looking at matchups on Wednesday on the flagship show, with Mark and Greg and Andy. So we will talk about that. We'll know who the 3, 6, and 4, 5s are obviously matchup wise. But the 1s and 2s will be waiting for the play-in round to wrap up. That begins on Tuesday. Miami Heat suffered a tough loss in Chicago, so they look destined for the 10th seed. Still don't know who the 9 is going to be between Atlanta and Chicago, and the 8 in the East will be the Orlando Magic, or the 7 in the East, I should say, will be the Orlando Magic, who have won the Southeast Division. And the West is really, it's one Oklahoma City, obviously, surprise winner, surprise Southwest Division winner Houston. That's 2, and then 3 through 8, separated by a game or 2. So,
That's right.
We will have to see how that shakes out. Lakers, though, did themselves a huge favor, beating the Dallas Mavericks and splitting with the Thunder, and they probably would have beaten the Thunder both games because they were up.
The ejection, yeah.
Luka wasn't ejected, so we're coming down the stretch. Basketball is looking great to finish off, and hopefully it takes that momentum. I also kidded, but not kidding, with Greg that on Wednesday we will take a few minutes to chat about the WNBA draft.
Oh no! Oh, he goes.
The
crazy.
WNBA draft is on Monday, Jim, and so we will see Paige Beckers go to Dallas, and we will see probably. I mean, rookies aren't going to make a huge impact on the W this coming season like Caitlin Clark did with the Fever, but Becker certainly is going to be the newsmaker, and the top 3 or 4 picks are going to be merit a conversation. So we will have that on Wednesday.
I'm sure that'll make Greg very happy because he hates when we bring it up.
He has already given us his blessing, so we are good. All right, so let's recap what we've got going on for the weekend portion of the Proline TV Baseball Betting Bash. Jim likes...
No.
What?
No, you said it again. Baseball Betting Bash?
We are very annoyed. It's going to be both now. Bash or the Jam, and we're now very annoyed at Mark Lauren. Very annoyed.
Okay, yeah. we can call it the Bash Jam.
Bash or Jam, whatever you want. It's a party. But yes, Jim likes the San Francisco Giants to win on Friday, I should say, win outright, and then we'll roll over against the Yankees. That first matchup is Robbie Ray against Marcus Stroman. So you'll be a dog, but not a significant dog because Stroman is
just trying to win one bet there. You win one, you're done. That's it.
And win one bet, right? And Saturday's Jordan Hicks, Will Warren. Sunday, Logan Webb and Carlos Rodon. So I mean, the Giants have a legitimate shot to win that.
Yankees, I heard the Greg mentioned the other day that I didn't pick the Yankees to win the East. Well, no, the pitching is. I mean, they're not that solid on the pitching side. I mean,
losing Garrett Cole hurts. It's going to throw it into it's anybody's division really. Blue Jays are ahead now, and you got the Red Sox much improved, and you got the Orioles.
Yeah,
and the Rays.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, no, I mean not overly surprising. The Andy Isco picks for this weekend: the Arizona Diamondbacks and Milwaukee Brewers going over every game at Chase Field. I like the Marlins on Sunday over the Nationals as my game of the week, and my top series will be the Phillies over the Cardinals, series price-wise. Again, Masters going on. We will not join you guys again on the network until next week, but we'll do some talking about potentially doing an NBA playoff show separately from what we are doing Wednesday. Greg DePalma will be chatting with Jan Stevenson on Friday, and that'll be nice. A Masters preview into Saturday, and a look back as to what's happened in the first 2 days of the tournament. And then Wednesday, we will all join you for the flagship show. And on Monday, the baseball betting jam. Maybe we'll have a baseball betting jam on Monday, and on Thursday will be the weekend bash. We will have to see. It's whatever rolls off my tongue. But Monday, we will hopefully be joined by Andy Isco, and Jim Feist and I will be back to look back at what has transpired over the weekend and look forward to the next week's series. So, Jim, you got anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm just going to watch the Masters today, and I do bet the Masters. I have a bunch of top 20s, top 10s, top 5s, a couple to win, all long shots. Morikawa would be very nice for me because I got a nice bet at 18-1. But I have a lot of others as well, all at jimfeist.com, by the way. And I do have the baseball special that I run at jimfeist.com, 30 days for $30, $1 a day. Not too bad. And hopefully I don't have too many 0-2 days like I had yesterday.
Very good. And yeah, follow me on Twitter at Mejia Dinero, and you can see where I'm available. I've got picks on multiple sites. So, and including playbooksports.com with our friend Mark Lawrence. So you can catch me there as well. And that'll do it for the Baseball Betting Jam Bash. I'm Tony Mejia. That's Jim Feist. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday.
I think that Bash fits your personality.